What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego back with some more boxing. Man, do I have something special for you? A treat, if you will. Only catch is I've been busy as fuck. So I have an exclusive interview that I did. I'm gonna try to get it out there and release it at midnight tonight. Like I said, I've been busy with the World Star video, just trying to knock out interviews, new content, just edits, just busy work. Um, but I got the interview for that ass. So I'm gonna try to get it up tonight at midnight. Make sure you check back. As always, subscribe, comment. Want to spend some time and talk about Brandon Rios. He took another L by failing a drug test. They're reporting his big high-profile fight in Macau, China, um, with Pacquiao. Now, I don't know all the details. Apparently, he had trace amounts of some kind of diuretic that they use to lose weight. Now, anybody that knows anything about steroids or just athletes and peds and steroids, um, a lot of times they use steroids, and there's ways to go around testing to kind of circumvent it. One of the ways is um, to elude detection. One of the ways is to use diuretics as a masking agent. And if you come to my channel, I'm consistent all the way around. When Eric Morales tested positive for a diuretic in the Danny Garcia rematch, I wasn't okay with it. When Chavez Jr. tested positive for a diuretic in like 2008, 2009, and then tested positive for having weed, I wasn't okay with it. When J. Leon Love tested positive for a diuretic, I wasn't okay with it. So naturally, as much as I like Brandon Rios as a fighter, he took a L with this one. If all the reports are true and there's no contamination or anything, that's fucked up. Um, we need a clean sport. Mayweather was preaching this for the longest time, and it took. I mean, honestly, I guess you could say Mayweather was ahead of his time. Now you got fighters like Nonito Donaire, Edwin Rodriguez, who are doing like the year-round testing and constant testing, submitting to all types of tests. Timothy Bradley. I don't think he was initially on board because I remember some interviews back in the day where I think it was circa the Pacquiao Bradley fight right around then. He was talking about everybody fuck doing testing or something. There's an interview I have to try to look it up on YouTube, but he didn't really sound like he was on board. But after he kind of switched his tune, and I think he had another interview where he said everyone that's fought me has been on roids or something crazy. But he's been doing the test and requesting the test. Pacquiao against going to go win against the grain and requested the test on Rios. Um, which was pretty shocking to me just because the Mayweather fight, I thought one of the big reasons that didn't happen was initially because of testing, and then it just turned into a whole slew of other instances where they couldn't get along and couldn't make an amicable deal. Um, so it's just real disappointing, really, for Brandon Rios to fail a drug test. Not only did you get dominated in the fight, then on top of that, you lost, or excuse me, you failed the drug test. Real disappointing. Um, Brandon Rios was a fighter who had trouble making the lower weights, and I understood that because if you look at his frame, he never had just really a sculpted body type, but he had trouble making those weights, and it looked like he really made every attempt to try to kill himself to make weight. I remember I think when they did the HBO 2 days special, he looked ghastly. I mean, this dude's face looked translucent. He almost looked green. He looked like the motherfucker at the beginning of Sixth Sense, Donnie Wahlberg, when he was in his underwear with the gun, with the pistol. Yeah, he looked like some shit like that. Or Christian Bale in The Machinist. Killing himself to make weight. So I thought welterweight would be a better fit for him. And now it looks like he's having trouble making that to the point where he needed to use a diuretic. And what I don't understand, like Chavez Jr. and Sergio Martinez, Brandon Rios and Manny Pacquiao, these are the biggest fights of your relatively young career. Why the fuck, out of all the fights, why would you not be cautious? Especially when Pacquiao made a fuss about it and said, hey, I, for the first time, am on board with drug testing and I want drug testing. I mean, it was a big deal. This was part of the build up to the fight. The fact that this fight was implementing testing, and then the whole split Freddie Roach and Alex Ariza from the Pacquiao, him leaving the pack to go with Brandon Rios, it leaves a sour taste in the fans' mouth because it's kind of crazy. Um, like I said, there's nothing more than I'm just disappointed. Like I said, I don't condone cheating. I think we need a clean sport. These people wake up at 3 a.m. to go running. They dedicate themselves. Some people, um, they eat clean. Like if you look at, actually, I hate using Mayweather, but because some people are like, "Oh, you're fucking Flomo," like all that extra shit. But Mayweather is the prime example of a lot of things that I want to use because he's a complete fighter, and the biggest hater cannot deny the fact that Mayweather is very disciplined. I mean, to go from a 2 year, you could say, "Oh, he outweighed Marquez or whatever." Marquez is a future Hall of Famer, and he made it look like easy work when he took 2 years off and then came back to fight Marquez, who just beat Juan Diaz. I mean, that's a game contender. Even if Mayweather had a slight weight advantage or whatnot, Marquez is game. Especially that was years ago. That was still when Marquez was even probably fresher. He wasn't 40 years old. So it tells you the level of dedication and discipline that he has. Mayweather, he's like one of the rare fighters, him, Bernard Hopkins, I would say, that are really fighting close to their walking around weight. They don't balloon up. They don't start gorging like Ricky Hatton and weighing 200 pounds or ungodly amounts. I've seen pretty much like literally, I've seen so many fighters, Chavez Jr., even Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley on the build up to the Juan Manuel Marquez, like when the fight was first announced and they first started doing interviews, Timothy Bradley is normally cut the fuck up. He's sliced. Like, I mean, the man's in impeccable shape. But even at the beginning, this dude looked huge. He looked way big. He looked out of shape. Even though he's able to transform himself and really get disciplined, and I like Timothy Bradley. But I mean, the motherfucker gained a lot of weight. And he said after the Pacquiao loss, I mean, granted, he was injured. Before the Ruslan fight, he said he weighed like 180 to 200 pounds or something crazy. He's a small dude. He's a short dude. So Floyd is really one of the only people who actually walks around at a certain weight and fights really close to that. Canelo, he always looks bigger. Danny Garcia looks a lot bigger than 140 when he's just in his walking around. Adrian Broner looks bigger than 147. Or I mean, he just had one fight at 147, but he looks bigger, like he weighs more than 147, just ongoing, even when he was at 135 and the other weights. So it's just disappointing. Like I said, there's all types of people who keep themselves in prime condition. Sergio Martinez, he's another person. He's usually in shape, like flat. He's never really just flabby and just frail. I mean, naturally, as your body ages, you might have looser skin or whatever. But Sergio Martinez, another fighter who even though he looks a little bit on the B side of his career, kind of at the twilight of his career, he usually comes in shape. He looks like he takes his training seriously, and I gotta commend people like that. So as far as Brandon Rios, like I said, it's an L. It's a disappointment. He's a warrior. He has a hell of a chin. He's an exciting fighter, but I mean, this is no good for boxing if you're failing tests. And again, it just seems a little bit fishy if they use diuretics as a masking agent, if you will, for hardcore drugs. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're taking the lesser evil in some cases. I'm not saying he was doing actual steroids because I don't fucking know. I'm not his coach or anything, but it leaves that asterisk, that question, that doubt in people's mind, as opposed to you just passing the test and moving on to your next fight and trying to rebuild after the Pacquiao defeat. So props to Pacquiao for being game, getting refocused, getting in shape. Pacquiao looked like he was in great shape in the Bradley fight. I was disappointed in Pacquiao's actual physique. He didn't look like vintage Pacquiao. But in the Brandon Rios fight, he showed that he could still do that. The pictures I seen, he looked pretty sliced. He looked like he didn't, like early on in his training camp, he looked like he was in good shape. So disappointing for Brandon Rios. Let me know what you guys think. Exclusive interview. Like I said, I'm going to try to get it out at midnight, so let me stop bullshitting. And let me know what you guys think of this interview. It's probably going to blow your mind, especially given this topic. Hint, hint. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next videos, Ego signing off.